Damn, bro. I feel like this is a situation where I kind of like actually agree with Kanye.
Oh
Um,
wow.
those things that like make you nod your head and you're like, is he saying the truth? Is he not saying the truth? Like, I feel like
This
that's
will be
one
a
of those
good take
moments.
then.
Yeah, I do. I kind of agree with him, bro, because think about it. Like, dude, like Blood on the Leaves, Yeezus, Black Skinhead, bro, this is like 2012, 2013,
Mhm.
right? So this is like a time where that's just no one's doing that, bro. Like no one mosh pit music isn't a thing. That's why the Yeezus tour was crazy because you were like, wait, what are hip hop fans doing at concerts now? Right? Like, so I mean, dude, I would again maybe if you say that if Trippie's counter is that like, yo, we took it to another level, sure. But bro, I vividly remember like the reason why the St. Pablo tour was insane was because people were moshing and doing all these things that no one had ever done before at a hip hop show. So, like, if his point is just like he created that for people to do that, I mean, bro, again, I never saw it before that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like it's always tricky because like the semantics and different definitions and all that stuff can make the argument be two completely separate things from each person. So like I'm sure Trippie Red's thinking of like current rage music and that sound and how he, Lil Uzi Vert and Cardi kind of are making an iteration of it that maybe is not quite like Black Skinhead or Blood on the Leaves or any of that stuff. And they might have popularized it, but not necessarily started it. And I think that's where things get murky because like some people do make things popular, but they're not the
Yeah.
ones who started it. But if you just so happen to make it the most popular thing ever, whereas the person who invented it didn't even come close, like who ultimately should get the credit? And maybe it's both people equally, but at the end of the day, music's never fully original and there's always an influence. So I think it just boils down to wanting some sort of credit and not feeling like you didn't contribute anything at all.
And like, do you think that's where Trippie's coming from, or do you think that's where Kanye's coming from?
I think Kanye is just a stream of thought and random stream of thoughts, and Trippie's kind of demanding his respect for all of his contributions.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can see where he's pissed, right? I saw, especially him with XXXTentacion and Uzi and Playboy, and there's probably others that we're not even talking about. That I know they were at the forefront. I mean, dude, Rolling Loud, we saw these things firsthand, right? Like these things is all like again that kind of rage music is evident. But bro, like yeah, I just feel like it's hard for me to not agree with Kanye if he's saying that he's like the originator of that stuff because like bro, like yeah, man, like I remember those feelings, bro. Like when I was in 2013, I was maybe 24, 25. And you're like, bro, like what kind of music is this? You know, like I do when Yeezus dropped, people were killing it because they're like, bro, like what is he even doing on this, right? Like all these aggressive beats and these beat changes. And then yeah, fast forward and you got Travis came from that. And like, I mean, there's a story here that Trippie and XXXTentacion are like on the Travis Scott like tree of influence as well, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. I would just say if the question was like who deserves more credit, I would say I would have to lean towards Kanye because I think it's harder to be the originator than being the person who saw something happen and was able like, yo, I can perfect that, right? Which
Yeah.
maybe Cardi and Uzi and maybe Trippie Red can say that. Whereas like that's why I think in basketball, like Jordan is always the like standard for like great players, right? And it's like, all right, can I be a version of that and then take it to a next level or something, right? Like I think I don't know, bro. I just get maybe because I was at that age, bro, like at 24 to 25, like you're very aware of what's happening in music. And dude, when he dropped Yeezus, there was a very much like a line in the sand, like, all right, this is a very different sound than whatever we heard before. And I just have to give it to him.
No, that's a very valid point. Yeah, and people probably get hung up on the sonics of it, and like the fact that, okay, well, what he created doesn't sound exactly like an Uzi song, which doesn't sound like, Lil whoever who's making something similar to Uzi. And then, a 15-year-old won't draw any similarities, and they'll just say, no, like, I wasn't influenced by Yeezus. So therefore it wasn't rage music, real rage music or good rage music. And since I like Trippie and that's what got me into the 10 other guys who sound like him, that's why I'm going to say Trippie's the real originator. But I think that's an unfair way to look at it. So I wouldn't say that Kanye has no idea what he's talking about. I think I just find it odd he finds these weird
topics
pockets of opportunity to just like bring some shit up. And I know it's like ego driven and, attention hungry and everything, but it's weird because I think everyone in the industry's always respected him, like at the highest level. And the only reason he gets so much shit is the weird stuff he says. It's not like I can't recall the last time someone on the internet was like, who was a prominent figure, was like, oh, Kanye's overrated or none of his albums are classics or something. Like, we've only said good things about him musically. It's just all the other antics.
Dude, honestly, like, I feel like that comment in itself about the originator of rage music is almost like a Soulja Boy situation, whereas like the first rapper to do this, it's like, bro, like, we know, like, you don't have to tell us this. Like,
right.
Like, we've been calling you a genius forever. Like, we yes, we agree.
Yeah. Well, I think now that I think about it, I think it's the issues with Cardi and his album rollout and all the love Cardi getting. He's probably like, yo, he's my son. I made all the pathway, or paved the way, I should say, for him to even do that in the first place.
Which, again, if you go back to, dog, what was the album that this dude dropped 2 years ago? Travis's album,
Utopia.
Bro, Utopia is Yeezus.
Yeah,
right. So, like, if we're saying the king of all rage music right now literally is telling us that he made his own version of Yeezus, like, I feel like that's also like more a testament. But again, like, there's subject matters that he feels the need to talk about. We're like, bro, that's not even a conversation. Like, for me, like, that's like, when you give it some thought, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then we move on, right? As opposed to like this making like a headlining thing. But again, either way, listen to the albums, make your own opinion.